I've got a rock solid, undeniably sound reason why Oregon can beat Illinois.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yes, it is that time for a quick crossover edition of Locked On Ducks. I'm Spencer McLaughlin, and Locked On Illini, he is Sunny Verma, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making this your first listen or your first view if you're watching on YouTube every day. Sunny, let's talk some hoops, and I'll just get into what I said. Oregon beat Wisconsin, so they can beat anybody, right?
I don't think that's how it works, Spencer. Because
I think it's exactly how it works.
I would like to follow up with that because Oregon lost to Northwestern, whom Illinois beat by 40.
Well, hold on. You're presenting data that go against what I would like to believe to be true. So I'm just going to ignore everything that you said.
I didn't even hear the first part of what you said. My mic is the only one I'm listening to right now. So I need positive vibes, Spencer. You don't understand. Illinois is coming off a heartbreaking loss to Michigan, a game that us fans in particular, and when I say us fans, I know the coaching staff had it circled in the preseason as well. The big Morez Johnson Jr. return game, Friday night, February 27th. The place was packing, a lot of energy in that State Farm Center. And what did we watch? We watched 40 minutes of a better basketball team simply beating yours. And so right now, I don't want to hear anything about Oregon being able to beat Illinois in any aspect because I need this squad to lock in. We got 2 games left. We need to lock in that triple bye. Purdue lost on Sunday. That makes everybody happy. That means that Illinois simply has to win out and get that triple bye for the Big Ten tournament next week and hopefully lock in that number 2 seed. So I only want positive vibes here, Spencer.
Here's the other thing I'll throw out there that doesn't fit what you're looking for, but that's just too dang bad. Oregon is coming off that defeat against Northwestern. They had a lead late in the game. Wei Lin hit a big shot, and then Oregon wasn't able to get a final defensive stop. There was an offensive rebound in there. But really what happened was Oregon turned the ball over 16 times to 17 assists. That's not
ideal.
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good. Now, the positive for Oregon the last couple of games, the defense has played much better. 71 points allowed against Wisconsin, 70 against USC, 61 against Minnesota, 72 against Penn State, and then 63 against Northwestern in the loss. They've won 3 of their last 5, but they've held all their opponents, as you just heard, to under 75 points, and that's been a huge problem for them throughout the course of the year. This is the worst version of kind of a Dana Altman special, which is the early part of the year. It's not very good. Doesn't look great. And then by the end of the year, suddenly they flipped a switch. Well, at least at the defensive end of the floor, a switch has flipped in some regard. Now, this game is, of course, being played in Champaign, so yeah. I mean,
Spencer, last year the game was played at Oregon, and I don't know if you recall.
I do.
I don't think the venue made much of a difference.
No, I think Illinois made, 47 threes in the game?
By halftime, yeah.
It was not good, and that was a good Oregon team, and this is not a good Oregon team. But let me just throw this one out there as well. After the Northwestern loss, and with only 2 games left in the regular season, Washington looming later this week to wrap things up before the Big Ten tournament, Oregon's a pretty carefree basketball team, Sonny. There's no major stress to play for this season. They're just out there playing for pride every single game because they are having the worst season in Dana Altman's history. So, I mean, there's that, I guess.
But that's what worries me, Spencer, because right now, Illinois, I feel like, is on edge. At least if I'm reading this fan base correctly. I mean, Illinois, at this point, they've lost 4 out of their last 6. So all throughout December, early January, they were talked about being a potential sleeper national title contender, a team that nobody wanted to face. And now you lost 3 state overtime games, and then you lost, again, as I mentioned, to Michigan last week. There's a lot of, are we really as good as we thought we were? We know the offense is good, but when a really good offense, which again is historic, Ken Pom highest rating of all time, but when that really great offense went up against a really tough defense on Friday against Michigan. All of a sudden, it was stalled, and it didn't show up. And now, again, that's why I talk about how important this week is going to be. Oregon's got nothing to play for. Illinois, I genuinely do believe, has a lot to play for. And it's not just the results be winning the final 2 games and getting ready for the Big Ten tournament next week. I just think they need to get a couple wins under their belt, get a winning streak going, and getting that mojo back, because this is a great front-running team. When they're playing well, when the confidence is high, there's not a lot of teams in the country that can beat them. But right now, I don't see that confidence when I'm watching them play. And so I think Tuesday night's going to be an ultimate test to see what the vibes are with this team right now.
Yeah, I unfortunately know what the vibes are with Oregon, but I can tell you one thing, Illini fans that are listening to or watching this show, Oregon's not rolling over and just giving an utter lack of effort. Nate Biddle might be playing his final with everyone gets in the Big Ten tournament, right? So he might only have 3 games left in his college career, and he's been with the Ducks for 5 seasons. So I can assure you that he is not throwing in the towel and saying, whatever. Nope, he'd love to go out with. I know that Wisconsin game felt really good for the guys because they've just been playing better basketball, not always winning, but beating a team that's borderline top 25 and bound for the NCAA tournament, I think, unfortunately showed us a glimpse of what this season could have been. But for this game, how could it play out? When we get back, we will talk about that very thing, how Oregon actually wins, besides the vibes, of course. First, this episode brought to you by our friends at Robinhood. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission, merchant, and swap firm. Check out Robinhood today. First, this episode brought to you by our friends at Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. Here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status that it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. This episode also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. College basketball, it's nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. So, you can build any college hoops parlay that you want. Rivalry games, ranked matchups, upset potential, whatever you feel like is there, college basketball is available on FanDuel. And then you apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with a team that you have been following or rooting for all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. So, to nail down the X's and O's here, Sonny, of how Oregon could pull what would be a shocking upset. I mean, I would be stunned beyond belief. You know, my tongue-in-cheek nature on this show is me just trying to find some way to have fun covering this team, because it's just not been the sort of season that fans are used to in Eugene. And by all accounts, and what I've heard as well, is that Dana Altman will be back next year and some changes need to be made. And frankly, I think there's some Oregon fans that are waiting for the offseason so they have something good, something to feel good about. But for this particular game, two things that really scare me. Number one, Illinois' offense. I talked about how much better the Oregon defense has been playing. Biddle looks mostly healthy. KJ Evans is a great defender. Sean Stewart's a great athlete. Des Lindsey's played well. But man, they have let teams, really in the last couple seasons, even when they've been good, get hot from three at times, including Illinois last year. And if that arena, which I'm sure will be packed, starts celebrating threes early on, Oregon's got to start well in this game and keep the Illini off the three-point line, or this is going to get, ugly.
I don't think you're wrong. I mean, I believe it's senior night, so you're hoping that the State Farm Center is going to be packed. If the threes are falling, this Illini team is just tough to beat. And, if the threes were falling on Friday against Michigan, I think it would have been a much closer game, because right now, if the threes aren't falling, I just don't know what else Illinois has as a backup plan, even against Michigan. I don't know why I keep bringing that game up, self-torture here. But Keaton Wagner showed up with 23 points. Kylan Boswell, David Mirkovic, those three guys were absolute dogs. They were ready for the environment. Tomislav Ivicic, I don't know where Andrej Stojakovic is anymore. I just had an episode devoted to him on Mondays, just his absence. He had 0 points against.
You don't like him? Send him to us. We'll take him. We need players. We need guys.
Word on the street is he might be going out west this offseason. So who knows? It's just one of those where Illinois, but that's why Oregon needs to be a get-right game. They need to hit over 35% of their three-point shots. They need to have a strong rebounding performance one more time, out-rebound those guys from the West Coast. I think if this game is close in the end of the second half, it just so matters because of the history that Illinois has had recently. Again, they've lost 3 straight overtime games. Michigan wasn't that close, but I don't know right now if this team has the confidence to close games out. The ideal scenario for the Illini is exactly what you're probably dreading. Illinois needs to be up 17 points at halftime. And even then, I say that they were up 23 points against UCLA last week, and the UCLA came back and won that game. Again, going to overtime. But this team right now, they need to give Stojakovic the ball. The Tomislav Ivicic, Zvonimir Ivicic, I don't know where they've gone over the past week. They've just really been struggling. You needed them last week. They didn't show up. They need to impose their will, show that they're 7 foot tall, 7'2" inches, grab rebounds, block shots, make three-pointers. I feel like basketball is such a game of rhythm that if you're a shooter, sometimes you just need to see the ball go through the hoop a couple times, and then the rim itself gets bigger. Right now, and when it comes to Tommy, I feel like he thinks the hoop is the ball size, and the shots just aren't falling in. Tuesday night needs to be the day those shots start falling in.
Were you serious about Stojakovic, by the way? Is that a real rumor?
If you're in my Discord, I've said a couple rumors out there. I've locked on line. I Discord. There's some, If
memory serves, Oregon was a player there for his services.
There we go, starting rumors. But you know what? You asked.
I did. I'll give you an X factor and then a prediction on the game. Wei Lin coming off the bench. One game that sticks out in my head from earlier this year was the unfortunate loss at Rutgers early in the Big Ten slate. And Oregon had beaten Maryland, and then they went and played Rutgers all the way on the East Coast, and Wei Lin erupted in that particular game. And Dana Altman's been starting Drew Carter at point guard to just kind of facilitate, get things settled, and then let Wei Lin be a spark off the bench. I think if Oregon is going to pull off this shocking upset, I think Wei Lin is probably going to have at least 15 points. He just has to give you that shooting off the bench. I'm pretty confident the Illini are going to hit threes, and Oregon doesn't have that many shooters without Jackson Shellstat out there. Other guys are a bit inconsistent. Obviously, you got Takai Simpkins, who's really good, but it's not a great Oregon shooting team. You can't be relying on KJ Evans and Nate Biddle to give you all your threes. Wei Lin's got to be able to provide that spark. So that's my X factor, but I think Oregon probably fights for a half and then runs out of gas in the second. I think Illinois wins 85, 68. I think they pull away at the end.
I think the score is right about where I'd want to see it. Again, for me, it's just get the 3-point shots falling. I think this is a game that you're going to have to work Tomislav Ivicic in, because if you're going to make the noise that you want to make in March, you can't have one field goal from Andrej Stojakovic in the last 2 games. You can't have Tomislav Ivicic play 27 minutes and only get 7 points against a team like Michigan. I think Brad Underwood recognizes that. This team isn't very deep. We thought maybe it'd be a very deep squad early in the season. Turns out it's really just 8 guys that Brad Underwood trusts. But if you still need all 8 guys, and over this stretch of 4 of 6 games where Illinois has lost, I think right now, as I said, this is just a get-right game. Get Tommy going, get Andrej Stojakovic going, get their confidence going. I think Illinois pulls away. I'll say 15-point victory. Let's go 90-75.
That's Sunny Verma, Locked On Illini. I'm Spencer McLaughlin, Locked On Ducks. Appreciate everyone listening. We'll see you next time. Until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.